Hey, good morning. Yes, we're back again. Good to see you. Wait, got to do one thing. Watch this. I've got now I can see. That's better. I've got like 47 different pairs of reading glasses, and some of them actually work. Hey, it's Thursday, 22nd of July, 11 a.m., and here we are back again with the Lavenia Success Mastermind. I'm your dude. Sitting in this morning, Glen, Henderson, nice to see you. And let's see who's here. Virginia, nice to see you. Again, on the line this time. And Edward's here. Daisy, how do you do? How'd you do? And the money mama never misses one. How you doing, Lindsay? Nice to see you. A little housekeeping. Hospitality suite right after this. I'm subbing today for our good friend, Lieutenant Colonel Mark Riggle, who was called away to urgent business, so I'm here sitting in for him. Hospitality suite right after this, and then, I think I might actually need to swing by this gentle yoga and relaxation thing today. 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time with our good friend Nancy Burtonshaw. You know why I might need to swing by the yoga thing? Were you on the call yesterday and talking about, hearing me talk about my baptism by fire into the world of CrossFit? Well, I can tell you I am feeling it this morning. No, I'm feeling pretty good. A little bit sore. I've been way more sore with doing other things, but I may need to get out on my bicycle a little bit and move around a little bit this afternoon, kind of get blood flowing, because, that's one of the good ways to get rid of soreness, is to move a little bit. So anyway, do that. 3:30, gentle yoga and relaxation with Nancy, and a special event tonight. John and Shannon are hosting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Have you ever wanted to sell stuff online? You ever thought about it? Thought about Amazon or e-commerce or some other such thing? Well, John and Shannon are bringing a big-time expert and having a conversation about selling on Etsy. Sales success, building a successful Etsy site with Ms. Jessica Trueblood. That is this evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here within the Lavenia Success Mastermind. Here endeth the commercial. And Carl is jumping in. Good to see you, my friend. This may be a slightly abbreviated session today because I have a hard stop at 11:55. I've got to get on to the next thing, my next thing for today. So today's conversation, it just came to me because I think I've mentioned before that I don't always, sit down and bullet point and write out an outline and prepare something deep and profound to talk about on these calls. Very often what happens is ideas and thoughts and principles and things come to me from personal experiences, from, you'll never guess what happened to me yesterday, that sort of thing, if you know what I mean. And today, there was actually the thought that came to me today is, well, who's your top five? Top five what, Glenn? What are you talking about? It's pretty simple. We know from our own experience that when it comes to the building blocks of success, there are several key major cornerstone blocks that we want to lay down in the foundation of our success building, and we can talk about what those different things are. One of them, of course, is having a very strong, solid why. What in the world? You hear people talk about this. I like to think of it as your definite purpose. What are you doing whatever it is you do for? Why are you doing whatever it is you do for? Well, we want to make a lot of money. Yes. Why? What for? What are you going to do? with all that extra income and savings and investment nest egg that you're going to have, that you're working towards? What's the purpose for what you're doing? That's one of the building blocks. Another one of the building blocks is the one that everyone loves to talk about: work ethic, consistency of effort. Nothing worthwhile gets done without consistency of effort. Habits beat heroics. We talked about that a little bit yesterday, and John loves to talk about that. Here's another one: associations. As a matter of fact, talk about the building blocks. There are 4 building blocks, 4 major ones I can think of. And I actually talked about this in one of the very first calls that I hosted here in the Mastermind. Remember the 4 questions? Way back when I shared with us 4 questions to begin to direct ourselves on the path to success. Question number 1, what do you want? Why? Yeah. What's your purpose? Question number 2, what are you willing to give up to get what you want? Question number 3, are you willing to associate with the people that can help you get what you want? And number 4, do you have a plan, and are you working your plan? So today we're talking about just a minute about question number 3. Are you willing to associate with people who can help you get what you want? Like I say, who's your Fab 5? Who's your top 5? This is what I'm talking about. Jim Rohn said this years and years and years and years ago. He said, and we've heard variations of it over the years. Memory serves, it was Jim Rohn who said, you will become, in terms of income, career, success, you will become the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And when I first heard that years ago, I won't tell you how many years ago, because I've already dated myself once today in a conversation earlier. So, when I first heard this and thought about the question, I thought, well, I can't exactly associate with Norman Vincent Peale, can I? Or with Dale Carnegie, or Tony Robbins, or whoever it might be. But what I can do, and it's a way of associating. It's sort of like having virtual mentors, if you know what I mean. That is, it is perfectly legitimate. Oh, wait a minute. Well, let's get to that in a minute. Let's get to that in a bit. So who's your top 5? Let's take stock. Let's take inventory. Grab a piece of paper and a pen and jot down a couple of notes. Here's what I'd like you to write down. Take a moment and write down the names of the 5 people or couples, the 5 people with whom you currently spend the most time, whether in person or on Zoom or whatever. The 5 people you spend the most time with. You don't have to tell me. Just write them down. I got mine. So, you got your 5 people written down? I'll give you another minute while I'm jotting down some other ideas and some thoughts. Let's see. All right. I like it. Virginia, calling it out, declaring it. Nice. So, I'm going to let me see if I can help us focus our thoughts on this a little bit. I'd like us to think of those 5 people that we spend the most time with in terms of business, job, career, money, personal development, along those lines. Obviously, clearly, the human being with whom I spend the most physical time would be my lovely wife, Paula, as an example of personal time. One person with whom I spend a great deal of business time would be a couple. Specifically, John and Shannon Lavenia. So you see what I mean. So let's think about this in a business context. In the context of business, money, career, income, personal development, as we say. And who are those 5 people that you spend the most time with? And now I'm going to bring back that thing that I was going to mention before about virtual mentors, about virtual people you spend time with. Whose books do you read most often? Which authors do you read most often? Which podcasts do you listen to most often? Whose YouTube channel do you tune into most often? Even if you've never actually met the individual or the couple or whoever in person, if you find yourself spending a lot of time, if you were to take inventory of your week and you find that you're tuning into this person's YouTube 5 or 6 times a week, hey, that might be somebody to put on your list. Now, on my list, I've got people that I've not met in person, but I spend an awful lot of time reading their stuff, listening to their stuff, watching their stuff, and taking advice from them virtually, receiving mentorship from them virtually. Right? So out of my 5, 2 are people that I've never met in person. So who are your 5? Whoever they are, this is don't look at me. I'm not the Acme Judgment Company. This is not me pointing fingers at who you picked. It's an assessment at this point. It's an inventory. Who are you spending the most time with? Okay, there you go. There's your 5. Now, let's take a moment and think about what your goals are in terms of business, career, income, lifestyle. What is it you desire for yourself and for your life? And for the lives of those you care about. And here comes the tough question. If you, with that in mind, go back and take another look at the 5 names you wrote down. And here's the question. Are those 5 people actively supporting you in achieving those goals? Or providing you help, assistance, guidance, advice toward achieving those goals? If they are, fantastic. You've got yourself a nice little mastermind going. Or at least the beginnings of one. If they are not, it may be time to take a moment and reevaluate where you are spending your valuable time. Does that make sense? Because, without doing it, I'm sure, without doing it maliciously or with the intent to bring you down, if I am spending most of my physical or mental time with people or couples or organizations or sources of information that are not supportive of me, that are not inspiring to me to move closer to my goals, then the road to where I want to be is going to be a whole bunch longer and bumpier, if that makes sense. And I'm sure you know what I mean. So I recently had to make a decision. I recently made a decision to remove an entire group of people from my 5, from the people that I was spending the most physical or social time with, because not only was there no benefit to me in terms of being inspired and it helped and supported toward my goals, I found that I was actually being held back. Indeed, I was being dragged down by continued association with this group of people. And so I removed myself from the group. I removed myself from regular association. I mean, I still have friends there, people, friends, acquaintances, colleagues and stuff, but I have chosen to spend my prime time elsewhere, if you know what I mean. So really and truly, this was the main thrust of what I wanted us to talk about today, because our mindset, our attitude, where we spend our mental and emotional time is so vitally important to the achievement of our goals that I'm convinced that one of the things we can do that will almost immediately leapfrog us several steps forward faster in the achievement of our goals is to change who we're hanging out with. And as Virginia so wisely pointed out in her chat comment, she's hanging out with us. And so we obviously are a very supportive and a very powerful mastermind in that regard. So take a look at your five. Your top five, the current five, let's say. Who are the current five? Are those current five supporting you, assisting you? And in this, I include, by the way, sources of information. News media, for instance. Mention things like podcasts and YouTube channels and such. I would say it's been probably, I'm going to guess 25 years. 20 to 25 years since the last time I actually sat down in front of the TV with the intent of watching the news, watching a news broadcast of any kind. You know, you run into it at the airport or at the restaurant or at the pub or someplace wherever you might be, the shopping mall or wherever it is, and they've got maybe a dentist's office and they've got a TV screen on with the news. You know, it's difficult to completely avoid any exposure to the current news, current events as broadcast on the mainstream news media. But I would say it's been about at least 20 years since I've actually purposefully sat down and, okay, I'm going to watch a news show right now. That just doesn't happen for me. And I know other people, even here within our mastermind, actively avoid. And I support that decision 100%. You know, it's the old newspaper saying, if it bleeds, it leads. Right? And we know that there is so much negativity, there's so much anger and discord and turmoil and conflict featured in the daily news broadcasts these days, not even getting into all of the details of that. My point in bringing it up at all is to say, if you think about what you see, what you tend to see on the average news broadcast these days, is being fluent in all that information really going to inspire and support and drive you closer to your goals in life? Really? Kid you not. I'm really not interested. There are certain sources of information, certain things that I choose to keep myself informed by my choice, you see, and I choose the sources and I choose what type of information I let with regard to news and current events and so forth. And I think a considered, a measured approach like that is certainly healthy. Lindsay, your husband didn't make your list? Does he know this? Is he aware he didn't make your top five? Listen, I'm not trying to start any trouble. I'm just
I thought about that. I was like, well, there's different pages when it comes to business, I guess.
All right. So let's go back and do this one more time, and then I'd like to hear from you. Take a look at your current Top 5. That is the people that you're currently spending the most time with, either in person or virtually or by reading their stuff or their material or receiving from that source of information. Who's your top 5? And now think about your goals again. And what is it you're looking to accomplish? Business-wise, career-wise, income, lifestyle. Who do you think would be a good source? Who do you think would be somebody you'd want to hang out with? You'd want to spend time from, spend time with, have conversations with, receive information from them, receive coaching, support, mentorship. I'll tell you I'm just going to go ahead and share with you my top 5, right? 1 you already know, John and Shannon. Oh my gosh, what a powerhouse of information and motivation and support and inspiration. You all can tell me about it. Another is a buddy of mine named Todd Falcone, who is an absolute legend in the home business industry. He's taught me so many different things over the years. As a matter of fact, I just thought about it the other day, and I realized that Todd and I have actually been colleagues, associated, friends for more than 20 years. I guess he must be saying something and teaching something pretty valuable to me. I've learned so many great lessons from Todd. Another is Bob Berg. This is one of my virtual mentors. Who's Bob Berg? Bob Berg is the author of the Go Giver Personal Development and Success book series. The Go Giver. Highly, highly recommended. There are 4 books now. They're called The Go Giver, The Go Giver Leader, Go Givers Sell More, and The Go Giver Influencer. Highly, highly recommend Bob Berg's books because they teach practical lessons in the life philosophy of what BNI calls giver's gain. Give to get. If I give business to you, I know the universe will take care of me and I'll get business in return. If I give support and help to you, I know I will in turn receive everything I need. Besides which, giving feels nice. So anyway, about that. Another one is a good friend, a very, very good friend of mine here in Houston named Scott Bishop. Scott Bishop is a high ticket, high volume, high level financial advisor. Scott is an advisor to high net worth individuals. Let me clarify this. Scott will not take a client with a net worth of less than $5 million, personal net worth. The man's a financial genius. He knows about money. He knows about investing. He knows about personal and corporate financial stability. And Scott, in addition to being where I would like to be financially, you see what I did there? Scott is where I want to be financially, so we hang out. I hang out with him. Scott and I have become very good friends. We are both big fans of bourbon and cigars, and our wives have become very close friends. Paula and Jerry have become very close friends. We hang out all the time, and we've become friends. We've done fun things together, and Scott inspires me, in addition to being my good buddy. You see what I mean? So I hang out with Scott. Another in rounding out my top 5 is another virtual mentor. That is the founder and Chief Visionary Officer of BNI, Dr. Ivan Meisner. I have met Dr. Meisner on a Zoom call a couple months ago, and he's a wonderful, wonderful man. He started BNI with a vision to helping business owners grow their businesses, helping entrepreneurs to grow, and that's what he does. And so I've read several of his books now. I've actually joined his organization, BNI, and I take enormous inspiration from Dr. Meisner on, the culture of giver's gain, of building relationships, of lifelong learning and accountability, recognition, helping other people get what they want in business and in life. And Ivan has taught me a very great deal in those areas. So those are my 5 at the moment. They may change, and you know what? If your 5 change, that's cool. I would say my main thought for today is really, really take some time. My suggestion, really take some time, give some serious consideration to the people you're spending your precious time with, give some serious attention to the sources of information that you allow in. Give some serious attention to what you're reading, what you're listening to, where you're getting your inspiration. It may be positive inspiration, it may be negative inspiration. Keep that in mind. And make conscious, deliberate decisions, deliberate choices concerning what you allow to live in your head and who you allow to have an influence on your life and on your business choices. Make sense? I would love to hear some of your thoughts on this, and I would also love to hear in the future as you go on in this area. Maybe you realize, maybe you're coming to realize that it's time to make some changes in my associations. It's time to make some changes in my top 5, in my Fab 5. And I'd love to hear how the different choices that we make are going to affect our results, our stats, our success, our mindset going forward. So that's me done talking. What do you think? How do you like this idea? How do you like this idea of looking where you're spending your time and who you're spending your time with and who you let in? What do you think? Virginia, what's on your mind?
It just reminds me of a Spanish saying that my grandmother always did. And it's, dime con quien tú andas y te dije quien tú eres. Do you get that? Okay, so, and I've brought this up in the past. It's tell me who you hang around with and I'll tell you who you are.
Yep.
That's my 2 cents. But
I love it.
Wisdom from many over a century ago.
How about that? You know, it's a funny thing. It's like kind of like the old saying, right? The older we get, the smarter our parents were.
So true.
I love that. Tell me who you hang out with, and I'll tell you who you are. Show me who your friends are, and I'll show you who you are. Mm-hmm. Yeah, who are you hanging out with? Who are you getting information from? This is so important. I was very fortunate in an earlier time in my life when I was just getting out of school and starting to sort of try to make my way in the world. I was introduced to the art and science of personal development and positive mental attitude, or PMA as we used to call it back in the day. I was introduced to this whole world through my association and membership in one of the great legendary companies in the world of network marketing, what they used to call MLM, multi-level marketing. If I called the name of the company, you'd probably know it. And what really made the difference, the biggest difference in my life, was not so much the products or the compensation plan and the business opportunity or anything like that, or even the income, what income I did earn through that company. What really made the difference, made the most significant changes to my life, was the life lessons that I learned, the books that I read. I was introduced in those days to a wonderful book by David J. Schwartz called The Magic of Thinking Big. I was introduced to Norman Vincent Peale and the power of positive thinking. I was introduced to Dale Carnegie. Woo! How to Win Friends and Influence People. The original and still the standard in my book on personal relationships, how to build solid personal relationships with people. And so many books and speakers. They didn't have podcasts back in the early 14th century, but yes, I saw that, Money Mama. Yes, yes. I read that book, Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I read it once a year, whether I need it or not. Just reread the thing. It's, you know, it's some of the language is kind of old school, and I like it. You know, because it's an expression of timeless people principles. So I was, as I said, I was very fortunate in that I was made aware that there was this whole other world, this whole other way of thinking, way of being, that I didn't have to be a Debbie Downer all the time. I didn't have to be all negative and pessimistic all the time. I didn't always have to look on the dark side of things. Didn't have to assume that it's always going to go wrong. Well, what if it goes right? And what if there's a way for me to help things go right? Whoa. So there you go. Associations. Show me who you're hanging out with. I'll show you who you are. I like this, Virginia. This is excellent. Excellent stuff. Other thoughts? What's on your mind? Questions? Who are you hanging out with? Tell me about one of the people in your top 5, and why are they in your top 5? I'd love to hear that. That you know, I've shared mine with you. You know, hey, listen, I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Yes, Mandy, I did say that out loud. Mandy goes, I can't believe you actually. Hey, it's nice and sunny. Well, this is odd. It's like sunny and warm over there in the UK. This is really strange. Actual summer weather. Can you believe it? My wife, Paula, used to live in Scotland. As a matter of fact, when we first moved to Houston 7 years ago, we bought a beautiful house. Really, really loved it, and got it all set up and decorated and all fixed up nice, exactly the way Paula liked it. And don't you know, the very second we got everything set up just the way she wanted, her company closed their Houston office, transferred her to Aberdeen, Scotland. So she lived in Scotland for 2 years. Great to see you, Daisy. Catch you next time. She lived in Scotland for 2 years, and so I stayed here, and we spent those couple of years keeping British Airways profitable, if you know what I mean. And one thing I learned about Scotland, oh, you're going to love this. You know that a typical, really great summer day in Aberdeen, Scotland, shall I describe it for you? Beautiful summer day in Aberdeen, Scotland. 65 degrees, and it probably won't rain. That's a great summer day in Aberdeen, Scotland. Kid you not. So it was a little like strange for me to look at Mandy there in the picture. Wait, is that sunshine? What in the world's going on over there? Lindsay, what's happening? What's on your mind, ma'am?
I was thinking I consistently spend time on these calls every day. You know, I do make a point to do that, because there's a lot of, I don't know, there's just, when you carry around, you know, you write negative thoughts down and then write the opposite on the back so you catch yourself. You do that, you realize how much negativity you're around, and it just, you know, it's like I zip myself up in my imaginary bubble that bounces off of me. But then it's like, you know, you come here and everybody's positive and you feel, you know, it's just like you've got a family. it's so nice. And so I would say I've spent.
That is really interesting, that habit that you have. Notebook, write down a negative thought, then write the opposite thought on the back. You know, that is straight out of the Success Principles by Jack Canfield. That's one of the things that he directly advises that people should do.
It works. I've done it before, but when you stop and take the time to write down, oh, that just came out of my mouth. Think before you do it again, because you're gonna be writing. I filled a whole one up the first time I did that, and I was like, whoa. You
end up writing stuff down all day long.
Yeah, I'm like, hang on, Mom.
Here's a question for you, Lindsay. Have you found in maintaining this habit and doing this regularly, have you found that there's a trend developing in your thinking that maybe more than before, perhaps you now find yourself defaulting to the positive thought first? Is that starting to happen?
Oh yeah. Yes, that's absolutely.
Excellent.
I think something hurts and like, okay, I'm growing. Well, then not taller, but maybe my mind's growing. But there's a positive to everything. Yeah. Rise out of it all.
I like it. Yeah, that's a good one. That's really good. And we have coaxed her into a comment by talking about the British sunshine. Mandy, what's happening? What's on your mind, man? Let me hear.
Hi, Glen. Yeah, I had to come inside because I was right by the neighbour's fence and I didn't really want them listening into the conversation. It's the last day of our son, I think, today, but it's been lovely. Yeah, this is a big issue for me, and I think I've mentioned it before. Not because of the people I hang out with, but because I do like listening to current affairs, and I don't sit and watch the news, and I haven't watched television for years and years and years, apart from when I was watching cartoons with my son. But there's 2 radio stations over here. They're not as bad as the ones in America. There was a point where I was watching CNN all the time, and I've stopped doing that since the election, which is probably just as well. But LBC, that's television, isn't it? But LBC and Radio 4.
Okay.
Radio 4 has plays on it, but LBC is a talk station. But there's 3 presenters I really like, and yeah, I mean, they're not as bad as the media, but they are the media. So yeah, it takes up a bit more of my time. It takes your focus away, and yes, you can find yourself arguing with the radio sometimes. So it's I have been saying to myself recently that if it's something that I really, really am passionate about, then I'll listen to it. But if it's not that what I'm passionate about, then I try not to, and I'll turn it off. And I have been turning it off more recently, but I know I need to do it more. And other than that, my son doesn't say very much anyway. It's only him, JLSM, and myself, which is very sad. But I'd like to take myself out of it if I could do, because myself is getting in my own way at the moment. But I have been listening to Wake Up and Live by Dorothea Brand, I think it is, isn't it?
Yes.
And I've been revisiting psychocybernetics and certain chapters within psychocybernetics. And the happiness one is another one that says not to think any negative thoughts for 21 days. So I'm trying it. I don't think I failed after about 5 minutes, but I'm still going to keep trying. Because the more you do it, the more you can get there, can't you? So it's so important, I think, that you have the right mindset and who you hang out with. It must be really tricky, Lindsay, for you if your husband's not quite on the same side as you are. But hopefully you just allow each other to be where you are. But I can imagine that could be really tricky. So at least I don't have that. So yeah, no, it's really powerful points. I did also grew up, so we're probably not so far away in ages, but Dale Carnegie was one of my first books I read as well. And so was Norman Vincent Peale. But I think I had a long way to go to pick up. I think I used to think if I just think positive, absolutely about everything, nothing bad would go wrong. And I didn't quite get the thing that, it's more up and down, isn't it, as you go. And then Susan Jeffers. But yeah, you can never get enough of reading the books, and all the books that we're reading and everything. They're so important. And we've read so many books in the last year. And we say that on book club, we've just read so many books, and it's fantastic. Just go back over them and keep reading them.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
It's in progress.
You said it. It's in progress. It's in progress. And Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret, Lead the Field. Earl Nightingale gave the best definition of success that I have ever heard. Do you remember what it was? Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. You said it's in progress. That sounds to me like you're successful. Like you are having success. And 21 days is a long time. Or it can seem like a long time. Here's a thought. Media fast, we've heard about this. News fast. That is absolutely zero news for 30 days or whatever it is. Or like a negative talk fast, as you were saying, a moratorium on on saying anything negative. Here's a thought. The first time through, make your media fast 24 hours. Maybe for the first time, try a 24-hour negative talk moratorium. Just for the next 24 hours. If I catch myself about to say something negative about anything or anybody or any situation, I will rather say nothing. Or, as Lindsay has now shown us how to do, take that negative thought or that negative comment and turn it into a positive comment. Had my first CrossFit session yesterday and lived to tell the tale. See that? Remember what I said yesterday? And I didn't even die. Lived to tell the tale. Yes, sir, Bob. And going back tomorrow, we'll see what happens. So try 24 hours on for size and see how that fits.
I'll try that. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Boy, oh boy, you know, things we don't always think of. Like, what are we saying? And by the way, the negative talk or negative comments or, you know, news, bad news, the best place to cut off the communication of that is to this person in here. Because I'm influencing myself with everything that I say, particularly negative comments. And since we know that the subconscious mind, our subconscious mind does not have a filter. It is incapable of deciding what we should and should not take in. Subconscious mind takes in everything. Bad news? Oh, okay, it's bad news. I can't do this. Really? Okay, you can't do it. Let me now run down for you. Let me now, your subconscious mind, let me now run down for you a list of all the reasons why you can't do it. I'm just proving to you what you told me, is what subconscious mind is saying. So we want to make sure, and this was one of the lessons that I learned years ago and have applied with varying degrees of success over the years, is always speak positively to and about ourselves. Always. Because, you know, there's enough people out in this world looking to bring your behind down anyway. You might as well build yourself up. Right? So there you go. And what else? Another final thought, a comment or something else? Because I'm feeling it's a beautiful, bright, sunny day here in Houston, actually. So I'm thinking I may want to get out in it, get out on the bike. I knew I do have a call coming up here in a few minutes, so got to do that. But then I may just get on out there and enjoy me some fresh air, if you like. So I think what I'll do at this point is, unless there is one final thought or question or comment that someone has on their mind, I may give us back 16 minutes of our day. How do you like that? And my man, Edward, see, here's what I like about Edward. He takes in so much information from us and receives the things that we share. And my man will find a way to turn it into a message that's going to inspire the rest of us. What say you, Reverend Mosley? What's on your mind, sir?
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Good to see you.
Great. Well, I was looking at my 5 that I've tried to cultivate, and most of them are virtual. The one that I rely on the most is a leader that I won't mention his name, but he touts the process, the PROCESS, the buy-in to the process. Like I said, I won't mention his name, anything like that. But
he's just giving you a stick over there, Lindsay.
But the buy-in to the process. See, you know, the part that I struggle with is this right here. Because even with the buy-in of the process, you still have the lack of continuity in thought. Okay, because inside your head, you're like, I'm sold out, I'm into it, I'm doing it the whole 9 yards, and then all of a sudden there's something that puts you in remembrance of, you not being, or you not doing, or you not, having, or whatever the case may be. And so I just really feel like, the people that you have in your life have to edify that, that process, and have to edify the degree of you selling out to the process. Because if you don't have that, then you'll ebb and flow, you'll wane, and you won't be what you want, and your results won't be where you want them to be. So, I just feel like, if you have those people that you can really rely on, because they're giving you a certain power and a certain vibration that you can, duplicate and create, because it's all about, copying somebody else, role modeling. I mean, what are we doing? We're having an adult game of follow the leader. That's really what we're doing. If you can just really commit to having an adult game of follow the leader, then, we're all following the principles of the Laveniaisms and all that kind of stuff. So, let's just call it what it is. We've got to learn from the people who've already been down the path we want to be. Just like you said about the individual that you hang out with. So this coach, this winner, this champion, he always talks about how you have to, number one, you have to identify what the process is. And number two, you have to make sure that you sell out to it, because it puts you in the greatest light of your own progress and your own advantage. Because it's a very selfish thing you've got to do. Even though, we're talking about how to win friends and influence people and all that sort of thing, but what we're doing is really a selfish thing. You've got to perfect you really before you can really help anybody else. So perfection is a progressive realization of a worthy idea. So you're successful just because you know these ideals, just because you know these aspirations. And just like what did De Niro say when he was playing Al Capone? Enthusiasms.
Yes.
That's what we've got to have. We got to have enthusiasms. We got to be obsessed with getting better, because that's what we're all after. And that's why I keep showing up. I'm obsessed with getting better. So, that's my 2 cents.
I love it. And I'd be willing to bet, matter of fact, we know that a part of the reason why so many people commit to and sell out to that process put in place by that leader you're speaking about, Edward, who shall remain nameless, is because the people who are looking at joining themselves with that process, the people who are looking at, and this is with anything, nothing succeeds like success. So we look at the process, not only the process, we also look at what are the results being brought about by this process.
The fruit of the process.
Fruit of the tree. The results of the process, the stats.
An individual who's never taken a meaningful snap under center has $1 million income right now.
Isn't that something?
That's just potential. Now, he's going to be unbelievable, but if you think about it, it's just the process. That's what it's all about.
John says this to us all the time. You take advice. Who am I taking advice from? Well, in terms of business or an income or whatever it is that I'm doing, well, one of the things I want to look at, if this person is saying, well, you ought to listen, you ought to do what I do, you ought to do as I advise you do. Well, now wait a minute. Are your stats up? Right? Whatever this system or technique or whatever that you're implementing, this process that you're implementing, has it helped you improve your stats? Has it helped you increase your results? Yes? Okay, I'll take a look. No? Thanks for sharing.
And we're talking about it. We're talking about it every level too, because not only are the players successful, but these coaches, they go to,
they go on to greater
jobs,
success.
Texas, Georgia. I mean, all those are Alabama clones. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's just rubbing it in right now, Lindsay. You know that, right? It's all right.
David is a good example, though. He really is. And but I'm a baseball. I'm a Cubs fan.
Go Cubs.
It's like the game better than football. But you're right, though. You're looking for somebody that's going to win. It's going to be this fella that we're not talking about.
Steely Dan had a song that's called "Hey 19."
Oh yes.
Well, that's what we're gonna sing this year. This guy, because we're at 18 right now, so it's gonna be hey 19.
Lord have mercy. He's just not gonna leave it alone. He's just not leaving it alone.
He doesn't mind football. He doesn't know like names, neighbors' names. He's like, it's like, Brittany. That's his game.
Well, there you go.
I like that. I mean, that is.
Thank you all so much. But I love these contributions and the discussions and the friendly debates, friendly competitions about roll this or war that or something the other. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you all so much. Don't forget, 3:30 this afternoon, 3:30 Eastern, yoga and gentle relaxation with our good friend Nancy Burtonshaw. And then tonight, special event, Etsy Success with Jessica Trueblood. Be there or be square. Listen, you all, it's been such a pleasure hanging out with you here in the JLS Mastermind, John Lavenia Success Mastermind. Go ahead, listen, you have my permission. Go ahead and make it a fabulous day. As John reminds us, you most definitely deserve it. Live long and prosper, fam. Bye for now.